How do I know if I'm being greedy? How do any of us know? Would you call yourself a greedy person? Probably not. But my friends, there might be times when we get caught up in the kind of greed that leads to unskillful attachment. How do we know? What do we do? Hi, it's Margaret Maloney, and welcome to Season 3 of the Death Dhamma podcast. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so appreciative that you are part of my community. And yet, I seek not to be attached to the idea of the podcast or even to the idea of our community. And that's our topic this season: attachment, clinging, and aversion. What happens when we really want something? What happens when we really don't want something? And what does it do to our suffering and dissatisfaction? Let's dive in and find out a little bit more with today's episode. Excessive attachment refers to an unhealthy or unbalanced emotional fixation or clinging to external objects or experiences, including material possessions, relationships, or even ideas or beliefs. This leads us to feelings of dissatisfaction, frustration, and anxiety. You know, like when you decide you may as well eat that last cookie or finish off that pint of ice cream, and then you feel uncomfortably full and unhappy about what you may have just done to your health plan. Remember, greed is that excessive attachment. You do not have to avoid enjoyment or appreciation of external objects or experiences, but rather approach them with a sense of equanimity and mindfulness, recognizing that they are impermanent and cannot provide lasting happiness. Enjoy that cookie. The whole batch of cookies does not lead to bliss. In fact, since the antidote to greed is generosity, give those cookies away. This can lead to true contentment and also make the recipient happy. Now, the eating too many cookies example might seem oversimplified for our topic. Yet, I live in a country where we are food privileged. Recently, a friend who has become an American citizen revisited her birth country. She still speaks the language. She was staying with family, yet strangers could tell that she was now from the United States. Can you guess why? Her size. They could tell she had been eating our diet. The purpose of this is not to be judgmental about food and body size. It is about considering where we have greed in our lives. Where are we crossing the line from enjoying something to being greedy about it and inflicting more suffering on ourselves? Now, having had some years after the death of some of my closest family members, I can see a demarcation. It's the sadness over the loss, the knowing that I will never go on a day trip with my parents or watch a tropical sunset with my husband, versus spending time actively wishing for just one more day trip or one more sunset. When I started going down that path of wanting more, especially as it was not a realistic wish, that turned into unskillful attachment. And some days I recognized it early on, but you know what? Some days I did not. In a less emotionally charged example, at least for me, it's when you spend some time with a person or group of friends and you're having such a good time that you don't want it to end. It's what you do as you realize you want the feelings of that fun to keep going. Do you keep trying to extend the outing and discourage people from going home? Do you shame them and try to hang on to them and say things like, "Come on, it's still early. Why are you going home?" Or do you let it play out, to a more natural completion, and you go home when it's obvious that things are wrapping up? This can also be the difference between balanced attachment versus greed. And when you do go home, can you look back and appreciate the time you all spent together and just keep going on with your life? Or do you look back and feel disappointment and bitterness and wonder why it cannot always be that way? No judgment, just notice. That awareness will help you find what, might have been some unskillful attachment. reflect definitely on the concept of impermanence, right? The idea that, all things are inherently changing and impermanent. And by remembering impermanence, it's going to help you develop a sense of detachment and reduce those feelings of greed as you remind yourself and acknowledge everything everything rises, everything ceases, everything changes. That beautiful afternoon was a beautiful moment in time. You were fortunate to be there and experience it. That beautiful afternoon with your friends had a beginning and it had an ending. Doesn't mean you're never going to have another good time, right? We just don't want to cling onto that and be greedy for that. You can also use, mindfulness of breathing to foster calmness and equanimity, which helps to ease us away from greed and negative emotions. Again, emphasis on no judgment. It's really about the awareness, the doing the work, the going inside, and the paying attention to where you may have this, crossing over that line from appreciating and enjoying something to wanting to hang on to it, to crossing over into that area that could be greed. You might consider using the metta bhavana meditation on a regular basis. Metta bhavana is a Pali term. It's commonly translated as cultivation of loving kindness. Some might call it development of benevolence. Metta means loving kindness or friendliness. And bhavana means cultivation, development, or meditation. Now, this meditation, when practiced regularly, can develop a deeper sense of connection with ourselves and others. And it can be an effective antidote to negative mental states, the three poisons: anger, envy, and greed. Now, how do we do this? I want to share with you some steps as recommended by Sharon Salzberg, and this comes from her book, Loving Kindness, The Revolutionary Art of Happiness. So I'm going to tell you the steps. I'm going to read the steps to you. First, find a comfortable seated position. In a comfortable posture, you could be on the cushion, you could be on the chair, right? You just need your back straight. So you want to be, in a upright position, as erect as possible, because you don't want to be slumping, because that leads to, it's too easy when we're relaxed to fall asleep or things like that. So get into that comfortable seated posture. Set an intention for practicing metta bhavana. For example, cultivating love and kindness towards all beings, or cultivating some understanding for yourself. Now, step 3, you do start by focusing on yourself and silently repeat this phrase: may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, may I live with ease. And by the way, that's a nice mantra for you to consider carrying around with you throughout your day. It can be very calming. So that's step 3. Step 4, after a few minutes, shift your focus to someone you love, and now change the phrasing to: may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, may you live with ease. Then, after you've done that for a little bit, shift your focus to someone more neutral. Someone neutral. They're not someone close to you, and you don't have strong feelings towards them either way, right? And then when you focus on that neutral person, I don't know, maybe it's somebody that just, rang you up at the store, or somebody you just passed on the street. Shift again and say, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, may you live with ease. Now this next step, step 6, this is where you're going to consider focusing on a difficult person, someone where you have some negative feelings. Now, I want to just step away for a second from this and just discuss, when I have been taught this meditation other places, sometimes we don't, in our first pass at this meditation, sometimes we don't go to the negative person. Because, as you guess, it can be difficult. You're going to want to feel your comfort level with this, and you will feel it. You will feel it in hesitation. You will feel it in your body. Maybe you feel tightness in your throat or upset in your stomach, or you feel warmth, and like an uncomfortable warmth when you think of someone difficult. And assess your readiness, because when it is the right time to extend them loving kindness in a meditation, you will. So what I'm saying is, maybe the first few times you send loving kindness to yourself, to that person you love, and to that neutral person. And at the beginning, that might be enough. Or you might be ready to go on to this step, which is step 7, which is step 6, which is where you think of that difficult person. You decide, because it's not a homework assignment or a competition, right? So when you're ready, then after you've focused on your neutral person, which was step 5, then step 6 is focus on a difficult person, someone with whom you have some negative feelings or conflict. And you're going to repeat those same phrases though. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And then your step 7 is to extend your focus to all beings, and repeat the same phrases. Repeat these, but say them in this way. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. And then when you're ready, you're going to end your meditation by taking a deep breath and bring awareness back into your body. And when you're done, because you may sit for a few minutes, and now you may sit for a few minutes and do some mindfulness of breath meditation at the end. But when you're finished, come back, open your eyes, and as gently as possible, I'll say, bring yourself back into your day and repeat. The important thing is repeat these practices on a regular basis. When you develop loving kindness towards yourself, you will be able to more objectively identify where you might be experiencing unskillful attachment. And you may find it easier to feel unskillful attachment when it rises within you. And then as a nice benefit, you will also feel more connected towards others. So those are some thoughts. And I, of course, am going to continue. So this was our journaling episode. I didn't title it a journaling episode this time, but this is our journaling episode. You know, we've been like listening and talking to someone and learning, and then looking at some teachings from the Pali Canon, and then thinking about journaling and, you know, our everyday practice. And so this was our journaling thoughts on greed. And I do work on going through my day and noticing where I'm having some greed. And thank you so much for being here. I would love to hear from you, your thoughts, your suggestions, your own stories about attachment. So follow this link, I'm going to read it to you in a minute here, to leave me a 90-second message with your ideas and suggestions. You can go to https://www.speakpipe.com/death_Dhamma_podcast. I suppose you could also just use your favorite search engine to say SpeakPipe Death Dhamma Podcast. And there you can record an audio message for me. And be sure to come over to margaretmaloney.com. That's MargaretMeloni.com and join the community. You've been listening to the Death Dhamma Podcast with your host, Margaret Maloney. Thank you so much for being here. Come find me on margaretmaloney.com, MargaretMeloni.com. And until we meet again, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be at ease, and may you be free from suffering. Bye for now.